They say greatness is something that you watch on TV. What if Vilpa TV, greatness, there is no? Nikuzipeza moche pa 1Z for epic and Konkaya local entertainment. Follow the immersive drama in Impali every Monday to Wednesday at 20:30 hours. Zuwa every Monday to Wednesday at 20 hours. And Umutenge every Monday to Tuesday at 21:30 hours. Get a reality check from the ladies on Tuvange every Wednesday at 21:30 hours. Chimwemweni fulu pa landlady meets landlord. Dorika na Shimumbi every Thursday between 20 hours and 21 hours. With new and all-time favorites, 1Z has aligned only the best local stories to shine your way to greatness. We are going for great. So, Tieni Pamozi pa 1Z, channel 172 on DSTV Access and channel on
I opted to use my information and publicity. I'm using my phone because my phone has got the
main board.
Oh. Okay. Today I'm just using my phone for notes and everything. Lusaka.
Information secretary.
So I should get my pen here. Information.
How is it?
How is it? Fine?
Okay. Good.
Okay, we can go. Okay, so the time on United Voice Radio is now 8:50, and just as we promised this morning, that we are going to be featuring the UPND Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary Matomola Likwanya. It's not the first time we're featuring this young politician here, and of course we are always proud of him. Not that he's UPND, but because he's a politician and
he's a politician and he's a youth.
He's a youth,
very energetic.
I feel chuffed.
You have no idea. 2 women with you. Actually, not only 2 women, but 2 beautiful ladies with you.
Thank you, Honor. Thank you so much.
Young politician. I hope you won't throw in the towel.
No.
I want to see.
And our deepest condolences. You were not adopted to stand as councillor in Mississippi.
Yes. Actually, at the time that the nominations were taking place, I was in custody. So
no. Okay, so that actually prevented you to be nominated.
Yeah, because the time I came out, they had already done the
nomination. Wow. Ish.
But the struggle continues.
So how did you feel after that? Didn't you feel like it was almost the end of your political career? Did you take it that way?
Sometimes it pains, but the issue is that we need to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the Zambian people. The bigger picture is ushering President Hakainde Hichilema to State House under UPND. Because when we liberate this country, all of us, as Zambian people, we stand to be liberated. So that was the picture that I looked at. But it was quite tempting, like I said, on other platforms. Because now these other guys from the other camp are coming to say, look, you've been left. So, I mean, come and join us.
We're going to give you something.
We're going to adopt you on our party ticket and fund you.
Okay. So you've said no to a Land Cruiser. You
said no to 5,000
nice accommodation.
Yes.
You said no to everything nice, Matomola. Why?
I tell you, like I've said, the biggest picture, the biggest issue is to look at the Zambian people.
Yes.
Because if I had accepted those offers, I could have sought the revolution which the Zambian people are pursuing. And that revolution is to liberate them from the shackles of poverty. So if I earn that 500,000 kwacha, I Land Cruiser, what happens to an ordinary person in Mrs. Compound we suffered? So I looked at that. Yeah, I looked at that.
Okay. So we're sorry that you were not adopted, but of course we wish you all the best in your political endeavors. So you are here this morning to discuss a number of issues, Matomola, including the ghost law by the resident doctors over their unpaid dues. How have you taken that as the UPND?
I as UPND, we find it very much disheartening that one of the most critical aspects of our economy, of our country, is the medical fraternity. Doctors are saving lives. During the time of COVID-19, I mean, you saw how doctors availed themselves as frontline, workers.
Yes.
They risked their lives. Some of them were working, all night, you know, they never went home. Some of them they were camping at the COVID center.
Centers, yes.
Okay, they were camping for days. They were told never to go home because when you go home, okay, they risk contracting the virus.
To the members of the
So
community, they are kept in the camp.
I've seen, and we as a party, even in our manifesto, it is very much clear that we are going to make sure that we prioritize the health sector by making sure that we deploy more health workers on the ground. But the situation as it stands right now, the Zambian doctors, let me give you a few statistics. In Southern Africa, Zambia is one of the least in terms of paying its doctors, with an average, salary of about, $650. Okay, and the highest is South Africa. But we are the least in sub-Saharan Africa, and yet we claim that we have got a president that is working. So the president is sending out a message to doctors that if ushered into power as UPND, we are going to take care of the doctors that have been arrested right now. The information that we are receiving right now is that doctors have been arrested because they demanded for their wages, they demanded for their salaries, which must not be the case, because you and me know that it is your right to demand for something that you have worked for. So the PF government, they have violated pieces of legislation such as the Companies Act, okay, which requires that when you work, you must be what? Must be paid. They have also abrogated labor laws in the Industrial and the Relations Act, Cap 269 of the Relations Act, in the laws of Zambia. And the Ministry of Health, is silent about this issue. They worked those people, and some of them, they were given letters, provisional letters. Imagine a situation where you are given a letter, so you have been given a job.
Yes.
And they tell you, report for work. You report for work, you start working for 6 months, you are not paid. That is a situation that the doctors are having. Some of them, their contracts were terminated without proper reasons.
Okay.
But we are reliably informed that the Ministry of Health was well funded. If you remember, there was a budget that was approved, and money was channeled towards that ministry. So where is the money? Where did the money go? Okay, that is why we are saying that ministry has got a lot of corruption scandals. We, as a UPNG, we are calling for the immediate release of the doctors that were arrested, and the doctors that have continued to be victimized. There are doctors who have received phone calls. They have been told that we are going to arrest you if you want to strike. Because what the doctors are planning right now, it is to do what their friends in Zimbabwe are doing. They are striking. What their friends in Egypt are doing. They are striking because of poor conditions of service. Now we have got a learning mate by the name of, the PF learning mate by the name of Professor Nkanduro, who sits in there and hopes that she's going to become the vice president. She's a professor in the medical field. We don't know what she's saying because she has got a record. In the year 1999, she served as a Minister of Health. Professor Nkanduro is on a record having fired 300 medical doctors and nurses in 1999 when she was a Minister of Health. And those doctors, when they were fired, they went to see greener pastures in the US, in Botswana, and many countries. We wonder what such people like the Professor Nkanduro is saying. Okay, are we going to risk people's lives at the expense of political expedience? So these are issues, and the Zambian people right now are suffering because of this.
Okay. Dear listener, we are talking to the United Party for National Development, Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary Matomola Likwanya this morning on United Voice Radio, and he's discussing a number of issues with us this morning. And a little later, you will be able to call us on 0978 325 332 0978 325 332. Now, our government believes that this is just an attempt by some invisible hands to disturb health service delivery in our country. Do you support such sentiments?
According to the Industrial and Labor Relations Act, Cap 269 of the laws of Zambia, it gives power to workers to strike and to demonstrate when their salaries have not been given. That is in there as their right. So when doctors have not been paid, they have got families that they are keeping. Imagine what doctors pass through, Mwebandu. I mean, maybe me as a teacher, I do not pass through what they pass through because it was only 3-4 years and you graduate and you go. But for doctors, we are told that they study for 7 years. So you are in school for 7 years, and when you are confirmed as a doctor, they don't pay you. They give you a letter that you have been given a job, but you are not on payroll. There are also issues. Yesterday, I communicated to these victims.
Yes.
And the issues that they brought out were so much shocking. When you are employed in government, you are entitled to settling in what? Allowance.
Yes.
So these doctors are saying that they have not been paid. They have not been given their settling in what? Allowance. We also have some that were laid off and they are still pushing for their money, pushing that they should be what? They should be paid. The Zambian government, under the leadership of President Edgar Chagwarung, has not paid retirees, those who retired as medical doctors. It is owing a lot of money. And yes, last week they said, no, because you got loans, we want to pay them back. Who does that? So as UPND, our manifesto is very much clear that when we form power, we are going to prioritize on the health sector, because a country that has got medicine, a country that takes care of its own doctors, is a country that will prosper, because we are tampering with lifespan. The lifespan of our country right now is 35 years old, 35 years. Okay. But we can increase that lifespan to be like that of the United Kingdom. Okay. The United Kingdom has got the highest number of old people. So why can't we have that? Because we used to be in that trajectory during the time, the 1980s, during the time when we had the proper ministers of health, proper ministers of agriculture. We can do that. Okay. There are drug cartels that are happening. Doctors yesterday, they revealed to us that there are drug cartels that are happening in the medical fraternity, where Indians, Lebanese, okay, they are supplying fake drugs. Where Indians, Lebanese, some people who are at UTH, they are getting drugs taken to Indians, and that's why we find that in Indian pharmaceuticals in town, you find drugs that have got government seals. So these are critical issues that doctors are raising. That let's put pride in the doctors. In Zimbabwe, it was done.
Okay.
Doctors, they went to the street, and for me, I want to put it on record. I'm encouraging whoever is listening to me, those who are pharmacists, those who are doctors, those who are biomedical scientists, environmental health workers, can you strike? We are encouraging as UPND that let the workers strike right now. Let them demonstrate to show their displeasure, because it is their human right.
Okay.
Interesting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, as UPND, when you come into power, you're sure that there will be no striking? There will be nothing like this? Everything will be taken care of? And how do you plan to take care of all this?
In the US, which is one of the most progressive democracies that we have in the world, whoever is not happy with what has happened is allowed to go and demonstrate and strike.
Okay.
So, as UPND, we are going to have a government where if someone is not happy, you are free to protest, you are free to demonstrate, you are free to strike, because that is one of the tenets of democracy. That one of the tenets of democracy suggests that we must tolerate each other's views. Mm-hmm. If you are not happy as journalists, the way that the ZMBC is being used for political gains, imagine we had many few days for us to go and vote. ZMBC has never held any political talk show hosting our president again. And if journalists feel they are not happy, they should go and demonstrate. So, as UPND, we are going to allow these doctors. But I can assure you that in the government of UPND, there will be no demonstrations or strike by doctors, because they'll be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Now, are the doctors are justified to say they want to go on go slow when government has said that their grievances are being looked into?
They have been on this trajectory for 6 months. In fact, close to a year. You saw that doctors have been so much patient. In fact, they have written to President Edgar Chagwarung on several occasions. Mm-hmm. And each time that the doctors, they write to President Edgar Chagwarung, the letter is frotted on Watchdog. We have been following as citizens how doctors have been very much patient. If their people are less violent, cooperative, intellectually sound, okay, disciplined, it's doctors. Doctors, they don't speak anyhow. And ngatibama doctors wakaamba pamanje. I want to assure you that it means that it pains. Go to Kamara Clinic. I passed through Kamara Clinic today. Mm-hmm. there's only one doctor at Kamwa Clinic attending to close to 200 plus people. You know, the statistics that is there in our country is that every clinic, a small clinic, probably has got 1 or 2 doctors, which must not be the case. How did it happen that our country, which is growing, and right now we are going to cross to 20 million people who have 1 doctor at 1 clinic? Okay, what we are saying is that when UPND gets into power, we have to employ a lot of doctors. And let me tell you, the issue also which the doctors are raising is that there are a lot of qualified doctors who have not been confirmed. They want a lot of doctors to be deployed. But the reason why the current government is not deploying these people is because they do not have money. They have overborrowed. I come from one of the, not one of actually, but the poorest province in the country, which is Western Province. With 85% poverty levels, people are stunted with poverty. When you go to Sishek, when you go to Kaoma, you find that clinics do not have doctors actually. The people that train to be nurses, some of them that train to be pharmacists, they are the ones that end up becoming doctors in those areas. Okay. When you go to there's a certain clinic that yesterday I received a call from Shimano clinic in Western Province, in Kayama district. There is no doctor at Shimano clinic as I speak right now. The one who has taken over the duty of the doctor is a person who started midwife. You see, these are the things that the doctors, they want to work. But the government of the day does not have money, it has overborrowed. In fact, they are channeling the money in campaigns. So how can it be? How would you justify that a president would go and address people at Murungush and one of his boys, one of his cadres will stand on top of a Range Rover and start dishing out 100 kwachas? So where do they get those monies, the cadres? That is the same money that they need to pay the doctors.
Probably it's their party money.
Probably it's their party money because
they are not on payroll. Cadres are not on payroll.
Political parties do have functions to raise their money.
Actually, I want to confirm to you that the PF as a political party is headed by people who are in government. And we strongly suspect that the proceeds that they are giving to cadres is government money. How do I prove this? The PF cadres, they get money from stations. According to the laws of Zambia, according to the city council procedure, that money must go to the city council.
But
so
are
now,
are you sure that when you come into power, the UPND will put a stop to
Cadres.
such a vice
Not
where
really
cadres get money from the bus stations,
from
going to the
markets?
council? Because I think even the PF themselves were saying the same thing when they were in opposition. But here's a situation where you come into power as the UPND. What
and
jobs
you do exactly
are you
what
going
the
to
other
offer to your cadres, if not letting them go and collect money from bus stations?
Yes, the president has been very much clear that cadreism will come to an end because he's not a violent man. He has never won elections fraudulently within the party. The president has said that we are going to utilize ZNS.
So where are you going to put the cadres? Because even UPND...
ZNS will work.
Okay.
ZNS will work because the president has been on record saying that we have to get back to the basics. During the time of UNIP, did we have cadres? We never had cadres. These youths, immediately they finished their grade 12, where did they go? They went to ZNS. Okay. It has been done. It was done before. It must be done. And even us, we have to do it. We have to go back and borrow the wisdom of former president, Kenneth Kaunda, and say, let us revamp and re-energize ZNS. So there will be no cadres. Because Mao Sampa, the former mayor of Lusaka, once disclosed that every week there is 900,000 kwacha that is lost. That is supposed to go to the council, but it goes in the hands of cadres because they collect this money in stations.
Yes.
So that is the money that is supposed to be used to pay council workers. That is the money that is supposed to be used to pay doctors, because sometimes these ministries, they normally borrow, they can channel money from this ministry to the other ministry under a proper agreement. So that's what we are saying. There are also retirees that have not been paid their money. So as UPND, this is what we are saying. We need this thing because there are a lot of issues that the PF are not doing very well. And one of the critical issues that I want to address, which we are diving into, It's a thing of the prisons, which is also a very big
Oh yes,
issue.
by the way, we wanted to talk about the prison thing.
Exactly. So before we
especially-
get to that, let me just say here that the views being expressed on this program are not those of United Voice Radio, but of the United Party for National Development, as Matomola Likwanya, the Lusaka District Publicity and Information Secretary, represents them here on 92.9 FM. So a little later, you will be able to call us on 0978-325-332, 0978-325-332. Now, last week it was announced that the inmates will be given a 2-week break to go and visit their families, and of course that has received a lot of criticism, not just from the UPND but from many sectors of society as well. So as UPND, what is your problem with the inmates being given a 2 weeks break?
One of the most exciting things that are happening now in the politics of this country is that the PF government cannot cheat people anymore. Because even within ourselves as UPND, we've got people that have well experienced in the prison service.
Yes.
We've got people who have been prisoners before, and they can come out in the media and tell the people their experiences. And one of the people is here, seated with you. Okay. I'm an ex-convict, ex-political convict.
So you don't want to go on break for 2 weeks if you were actually behind bars?
Why? Why should I break it? Why should I break the order of humanitarian rules? And I want to explain this in a more categorical and simple way. In 2018, I was one of the people on political grounds that found themselves in prison. Chimbwakaira prison. I was there for 6 months. Okay. And what I saw there is what I'm going to explain these things according to the experience that is there.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things that I want to say is that before the PF government can begin talking about giving dangerous criminals 2 weeks to go and meet with the society, what have they done to the prisons themselves in order for them to be improved? In prison, there's a lot of congestion.
Okay.
120 people who do sleep in a single cell, which is supposed to be occupied by 13 people.
Wow.
Cell 13, which is a former cell for President Kenneth Kaunda, where I was. Cell number 13, which is now an educational cell, has got 135 people as we speak. And that cell is supposed to occupy 13 people. Even former President Kenneth Kaunda, if you go there and ask him to say at the time that you were in prison, how many were you in that cell? He will tell you that you were 13. So why is the Zambia Correctional Service not decongesting prisons? Because right now we have got over 25,000 prisoners, and the prison is very congested. Yesterday we received a call from one of our intelligence in Maximum Mukobeko Kabwe that there people are sleeping under the bunker beds. Bafiantana muja mabedi muja.
Also, there are beds actually.
There are beds there. They are in Mukobeko. They are because for those who are they are serving life imprisonment and the longer sentences, they give them bunker beds. But those bunker beds are so much filled to capacity that people now are squeezing themselves in there. Now, the Zambia Correctional Service is saying that they are improving the conditions of the prisons. Why is it that when you are convicted, you are in prison, you eat food that is not supposed to be eaten by a normal human being? Go at Kamala. I was at Kamala Remand Prison for 3 days, and they were giving us kapenta irina miala. Now kapenta irina miala, when you eat it, it disturbs your digestion system. You are dying slowly. That is slow poison. Every day it is beans. That is not properly cooked. If it is not beans, it is samp. Now, if they are improving the conditions of inmates and prisoners, why are they not improving on the diet of the people? Because there are people who are convicted and they have got HIV and what? AIDS. They need proper diet. That is not being done in the prisons. And they come here and tell us that they want to give people 2 weeks. That is not it. The other thing that I want to update the Zambian people is that in 2018, the United Nations, the UNDP, the European Union, and other organizations, they wanted to bring conjugal rights which will allow spouses to be meeting there in what? Prisons once in a while. Where if you are married, your wife will come, they'll give you a room.
Go to prison,
Not the prisoner going home. Conjugal rights are in, even in the United States, prisoners, they don't leave prison to go home. Their spouses are the ones that go to prison. Okay. Those conjugal rights, I was in prison at that particular time. The government of the day, they fought that thing as we supported it when we were there. There is now what is called the Mandela rule. It came in 2018. We supported it, but the government was hesitant to what? To implement it. No, Mandela rule. Yes,
yeah,
Mandela rule.
Listen, may not understand what it is.
Yes, Mandela rule, the way it is. Nelson Mandela was in prison for many years, and when the international community began to start, they said that let's reduce the number of days, months, and years someone would be in prison. For example, if you are convicted for 10 years in prison, should you serve 10 years? 10 years. Then they said, no, let's find a way on how we can reduce the sentences of what? Prisoners.
Okay.
So what they did, they said, okay, let's begin counting day and night to be separate what? Days.
Okay.
So when you are convicted in South Africa and in Zimbabwe and in other countries that have accepted the Mandela rule, from 6 hours to 18 hours, it is one day.
So from 18
to the following day, 6 hours, it is the following day.
Wow.
So if you are convicted for 10 years, you end up serving 5 years. The question is that the same in Zambia? That is a no. It is no, because in Zambia, when you are convicted for 10 years, they only reduce, I think it's weekends that they extract. But you serve 8 years. Why can't we embrace the Mandela what? The Mandela rule. The way Zimbabwe and South Africa and other countries have what? Have embraced it. So if they care for the prisoners, why can't they implement this rule?
And also let's talk about the timing of the 2 weeks break that has been given to the inmates. We are going towards elections, and the inmates are also expected to vote. So as UPND, do you think this could be a ploy by the government to lure the inmates into voting for the PF?
Yes, actually I'm coming to that point, and the reason why I'm explaining these things is because I want to paint a picture to the Zambian people and to those who have got families, members who are incarcerated. Therefore, they don't love the prison. Because if they love the prisoners, they could have implemented the things I'm talking about. Now, quickly, I want to go to one thing, that is the scrapping off of death sentence. If the PF government, they love the prisoners, as they are saying that will give you 2 weeks, why didn't they scrap off the death sentence? Because in other countries, they have said, no, if you are convicted for life imprisonment, why should we even convict you for death sentence? They have removed the death penalty. Those are countries that love prisoners. But in our country, our PF government has failed and has refused. They are saying, if you have killed someone, you are going to go for death sentence, which they don't even kill, because the last time that people were killed was in 1997 when President Chiluba ordered the execution of those criminals. So they don't care for these people. The other thing is lack of infrastructure. We have got a lack of infrastructure that can favor correctional service. You are in a cell, Muribari 120. How are you going to access education? How are you going to access basic skills? How is the hygiene? The diseases. When I was in prison in 2018, people were dying. People were suffocating. So every night you could have 5 people. Why? Because the type of a cell that we used to live, it is like a chicken run. And I've got a video. If they want to challenge me, I can show you. BBC in 2018 came to do a documentary, and that documentary is there, where they showed the cells in there. This room doesn't have, like the way it is, this studio, they doesn't have windows. It only has those holes, like we are keeping chicken. People are being kept like chickens, those prisoners. So the PF government should not come here and say that they are what? They are concerned about these people. They have not empowered people. Do you know the reason why people when they are released, they end up doing the same things? When you come out of prison, Comrade Fumbi, You are not given an empowerment package to say, okay, this is for your transport as you go from prison to where you are. This is for something to start with. Imagine you have been in prison for 15 years. You find that some of your relatives have died. You come out and you are released just like that. What happens when you go there and you find that the place where you used to stay, they have built a road? You end up stealing again. So the correctional service, they do not have a proper mechanism on how to do it. Now let me go quickly to the issue of the prison vote. The prisoners who are going to be given 2 weeks to go out there and meet their spouses, we must accept one thing, that they will have the freedom to do anything as a human being, as a Zambian. One of the freedoms that they are going to have, it is the freedom to engage in political activities. In the 2 weeks that they are going to be free, they will be free to go door to door, to join a political party of their choice, and to go for campaign rallies. If you want to go for kawawa with a named political party, that poses a danger to the citizens. Number 2, what security mechanisms have been put to ensure that us as citizens in society, we are safe upon receiving these criminals? Already, as I talk to you, Comrade Fumbe, the issue is that 9 people were slaughtered, gruesomely murdered. 9 people were killed by Joseph Chiteta, okay, and Mouse Malaya, dangerous criminals who are also on the list of those criminals who will be given 2 weeks to go to the society. These criminals, they pretend sometimes when they are in prison, they even go to church. They pray and what if those 2 criminals are released and they are part and parcel of the people that go for 2 weeks to go and meet their spouses? Joseph Chiteta and Mouse Malaya, they were dangerous criminals who managed to escape prison and went to corner people who went to see their loved ones in Mukobeko. And among those people who were killed, gruesomely murdered, is the wife to Baroseland activist Mombotwa, who was killed at the age of 49. This lady was cornered and cheated that we have got a way on how your husband will come out. As we speak right now, that woman is 6 feet under. And that is the reason why yesterday I was saying that probably I suspect, and I use the word, I suspect that these criminals who are going to be released, some of them have got lists of people that they have in mind. Because how can it be that a Barosaland activist, Mr. Momboto's wife, was murdered in that fiasco? There is also another gruesome murder that we must talk about. Doreen Nyambe, at the age of 29, she was murdered, raped. She had a baby on her back, a 6 months baby. They even killed and murdered the same baby. These are the criminals that the PF government, under what they are now calling the Zambia Correctional Service Act, which they have not availed to the Zambian people, they want to release. You are journalists. Have you been given the Zambia Correctional Service Act? Why is it that when the PF government, they are coming up with the pieces of registrations, they don't make those documents public for everybody to read? It is against they're endangering our lives. When I was in prison, there's a popular case of Siame and others. When Siame was convicted for 15 years,
Yes.
Siame went and served together with his co-accused for 15 years. When they came out after 15 years, the first week that they were outside society, they went and attacked the judge that convicted them. When they went in there, they went with pangas. And they went and raped her. Not only that, but they went and hacked the husband, chopped off his hand. Okay. And those guys were arrested again. They even stole money and the Prado and some Land Cruisers. This Siame, as we are talking, is also among those people who are likely to be released for 2 weeks. Now, the issue is, don't you think that these people, when they'll be released for 2 weeks, some of them will go after the judges that convicted them? Like the case of Siame. That judge, whenever the matter was coming before court, they used to bring an embalmed hand of the husband whose hand was what? Was chopped. These are cases that we're going to see. Don't you think that that 2 weeks will be enough for someone to go out of country and to run away? Don't you think that 2 weeks, some of them, they will come home and find that their wives have been married and they've got 2 kids, and they will feel chamubaba atenga naye falasa mkazi wake because there's no hope. Afika pa nyumba muntu apeza nyumba yake wanagurisa. Are you sure that if you give people 2 weeks, you call them to say, hey, 2 weeks is over, can you come back? And you, prisoner, will come back. Those are criminals. We must not risk during the time of elections. And for me, I strongly suspect, and I use the word suspect, that these people will be used for political activities. Because we take it that you are the one, and then we release you for 2 weeks. You come out. You have the right to engage in political activities. Don't you think if they send youth to go and attack other youth for other political parties, they cannot put you because you have got a life sentence on your back? The issue is very simple. When someone has got life imprisonment, if he attacks you, you wash out mulandi wapo. Imagine someone is roaming the streets, he's a lifer. Vanamumanga na life imprisonment. Vampaka mu political campaign trial, you ndio attack wanzao, bali kwa other political side. And that person stabs you with a knife. Ni mulandi bwanje wamzampasa.
Okay, so we'll quickly move on. Matomola, time may not really be on our side because there are other issues to be discussed this morning. And dear listener, we are talking to the UPND Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary Matomola Likwanya this morning on United Voice Radio, discussing a number of issues. And of course, one other issue is political rallies, where President Lungu has said the PF will not hold rallies and has directed the police and other law enforcement agencies to ensure that there are no public gatherings around this time. How have you taken that as a UPND?
We are going to gather. We are going to gather because SI 21, okay, and SI 22, these are statutory instruments that were written, signed by the president, to guide people like you and me, institutions and political parties, on how they should conduct their order of business.
Okay.
And those statutory instruments are very clear. In an event that you cannot avoid public gatherings, observe social distance. In an event that you are close together, have 1 meter distance, put on face mask. The same thing that we are doing this thing, and sanitizing.
Yes, we are sanitizing.
I love this. So what we are saying is, we are not in abrogation of any law to gather, because the SI 21 and SI 22 is very clear that if you have got gatherings,
yes,
you need to observe social distance and mask up.
But
now, President Edgar Chagwa, as you come in, went to launch what they called a national campaign, and they went there with a huge crowd of cadres who were not masked up and they were not observing social distance. The reason why the PF government, they want to say they have banned political rallies because they are not able to organize people together. People have lost confidence in them. Okay, that is the reason why they are trying to say do not gather. Now, let me ask you a simple question. When we had experienced a lot of deaths and cases of COVID-19 were high, didn't we see Dr. Chitaru Chirufia having a huge crowd of cadres escorting him to court? Wasn't the President Edgar Chagwa launching bridges, Michelle Moko, and having a lot of people? You get it? Eh? So what we are saying is that they are being hypocritical. In the fight of COVID-19, they diverted COVID-19 funds to construction projects, to roads. Bantu painawa kufa na coronavirus, wanatenga ndrama za coronavirus nosfaka mmarodi. Masks, yamene wa Jack Ma Foundation wanacha donate na sanitizer yanasoba. Yenze makadas. COVID-19 funds were misappropriated. Okay. So, Boma ni Rusambozo hoti rallies and try attempting to call Mafikizolo. Okay. These people, because they campaigned, they don't want us to campaign. But the Zambian people, they know these things. And they are not going to be ruined. So that is what is there. We are going to have rallies. And the police do not be used by people at the altar of political expedience. We have applied for the land in Copper Belt in Kitwe. They extended it. Because us, we are in a dying minute, in injury time, we've even just been pushed by a day. It's time consuming. Because now we are not counting months, we are counting what? Days to the general, to the day of voting.
Yes.
We are now applying for the ride in Kanyama. We are going to have our first ride in Kanyama. The police, what have they done? They have refused. They now want us to write a letter to the permanent secretary of Minister of Health. So it's not good.
Okay. What I wanted to say actually was, I think you've answered in your statement where I said, don't you think the president is trying to protect you and us as people instead of having all these rallies? Of course, we can campaign. People are allowed to campaign through other medium other than the rallies. Don't you think, as UPND, the president is just trying to help, looking at what happened in America and what is happening now in India? Don't you think it's just to safeguard?
Well, you have actually put it very clear. One of the most progressive, I call it progressive democracies, because they have existed for a century. America. Okay. The president of America is not only the president of America because he is also the president of other countries, because America is on record having assisting in developing countries. That's why the elections of America, they also matter to us in the third world. When cases are reached 1,800,000, that time America was deciding who becomes the president. What happened? They said, the people of America, they said, no, we are going to gather so that you come and address us, Joe Biden, you come and address us, Donald Trump, so that we hear your manifesto. If you are worried about COVID-19, don't worry. We are going to have face masks. And they gathered for political rallies. There was never a time in the United States when rallies were banned because of elections, because of COVID-19.
But it costed some people, they died.
No, they died, but at the expense of development. The issue was that they knew that the one that is going to reduce COVID-19 cases is a sustainable and good government.
So it's okay.
It's okay for us to gather, because we are going to decide who becomes the president, who will buy more AstraZeneca. Okay, when we have a president who cares for the people is going to buy AstraZeneca, and AstraZeneca is going to be available na makombo remonse. Imagine COVID-19 kiwa bwera ilichekuliwa kumayadi. As I'm taking to you, to be honest with you, in Mrs. we do not have.
Because I think that has been spread across the country and everybody can.
But the point is, I come from the 5th West Slum in Sub-Saharan Africa, where the councillor is the daughter of the president, and the daughter of the president wants to stand in Chawama. In Chawama, there is no person that I've seen who has been vaccinated. There is no vaccine in those clinics. I have not been vaccinated. It's not that I don't want.
Maybe because you have not availed yourself to.
I've gone there yesterday. Yesterday I went there, and that vaccine is not there. So it's not. What I mean is, it is there, quite alright. It is available. But what I mean is that it has not been dotted in health centers.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's open the phone lines right now. You can call us on 0978325232. We are talking to UPND Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary Matomola Likwanya on United Voice Radio, and we seem to have somebody on the line this morning. Hello there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Naimumulandeko. Emkwae. Atibanishi nabale tutumina. Tuwebe question na neko mule tumina mkwae. Okay. All right. Please go ahead now.
Thank you very much. My brother, good morning.
Mandula mwiketire.
Inya ni tarafera kuna mashere ni
Rubata kate nzwero pili mwana.
Litumeza horo. Anda Fumbe.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
My dear sister, I think I don't need to use a rock language because I want my youth and my grandma.
Please go ahead. That is time you're consuming already.
Go ahead. You can use a local language. We are with you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I think you are Matomola Pintoke Mwananda Fiosisi Kankala. Number one, Nalako Nkaiya Kuma prison is very, very intuitive. Tingaleta ana kimchalo cha Zambia. Tingaleta ukipayana. Number two, my dear sister and brothers that say, Bandu Bamuru, shuali muntu anamangiwa fumbe ninakumangisa ine nango unashita lefu mwana wa anashita lefu mwana wa bachite uko then lero mumuchose weka azira kuti ine nikali kugwera mu prison. What is next? Azabula nyumba kutakira fumbe pa nyumba pake, azaenda kutakira self-fire pa nyumba pake, amukaka ule asila kuti ine nikali kugwera hapo kuja nango nipae nango nipe nikali kugwera hapo kuja. Example ni nizakupatani careless ya mwamuno wamene sambela na careless ya mkazi wamene sambela aendo tenga matenda akadwala bambili wasekwanji waperepo tukasila kutela kutenili affected maprizo na mkawareta. I think inaine ningashite suspect kuti maybe pali mairo bazamba kuselezesa kuti kamenyeni chite mwende mufaye chite whereby mukomboni sinunga muchite identified tikoti ujamudu ali ku prison ina namandi wakukitwe pamwe mmusakati zamuchita bwanje identified ochutu ndi hapa yawo. The answer is no. Timuza mziva. So please change ole kuti vamene tichita chalo cha Zambia chizingalire independent vamene vankalira iyi fumbe uzambera kuti vamuna vambiri vamwalira apa muri 2 weeks vakazi vambiri vapaiwa azapeza mwe choko ulonderera kudala mukazi wake anakwatiwa pinango ero right time okay kalipo fika azapaya kuti cha time ikafika akapeza opponent wake uja apaya last conclude nkani ya malali fumbe ndiwe boxer ungaende kuti ulina crucial fighting ero coach no golo kuza kuti mwana apa tutaenda ku training coach unatetenga magrofu yako ukapaitire without training nikaende mulini ni masowera ichi chalo cha Zambia ni chatu wote mavuto ya chipi chamo utachite bribe mulando wote mufuna che kunkala pa my election kuti wantu wafutikire answer no and two kuliwa kampiongo amini sorry kuliwa IG tapapata tipase numpata valungu wakale na marari ikasebe wazani uzanga vili kunawezaenda watimo ababa nasekula ma political party yamele wakalipo zilika bazaenda wazike bwana what kind of politician mamele washitakale itoka American ya msini bwanja.
Okay, we have to let you go now. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Mutatisaute tinasa ukakudala mutatisaute mzeru ne muku japu ino wakuizo ndi wakachoka mubamange no walu zingisa ngale matuzi yamele ya takna.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You can get in touch with us on 0978325232. We are talking to Matomola Likwanya from the UPND on United Voice Radio. Hello there. Good morning. Hello. 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 Wow. Okay, we have somebody on the line. Hello there. Good morning.
We are fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Good
please
morning.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to comment about the restrictions on Maradi.
Yes, please go ahead.
This has been politicized too much, which is not even very fair. It's one of muzzling up the opposition. After you've gone around all the corners of the country, done your homework, you are done. Then you realize there is COVID. But when COVID started and we had the rising numbers, cases, you are very active meeting in multitudes. Even today, even when pronouncements are there, when you ask, no, we are launching. Meanwhile, you are seeing a crowd making introduction. What are you doing? We are introducing. Your agents, some agents of certain political parties, they are out here in the name of multi-purpose cooperatives for presidential 21 win. They are busy. When you ask them, they are saying, no, we are empowering. Does this mean that the COVID is very inactive, while there is a launching, empowerment, and introductions? All these are politics, which are just angering people. It's not good. It's cleverness of a politician. Let's come to the 14 days. No one should receive accolades or be called an angel. This is law which has been there even before all of us were born. In the studio, before the machines were installed, this law has been there. Now, it's because when you want to mix politics with lives of people and the law, you get into disorderliness. And this is where we are drifting to. Those who have not implemented this clause, they were not foolish, they were very clever. you don't open hell, you let it loose. These are the people we are talking about, even those who advocate for non-death sentence or whatever. Ask them to their benefits. Those are being paid for that. That's why they're even very fat. They were very thin at the first. This time the gentleman is very fat. He writes a GX. That's what he writes. So what are we trying to say? He's making money. Some of these things, should be wisdom. And has been wisdom all along. Even in the Bible, that's why Solomon was commended. It's because law has been wisdom. You don't do things because there is no what or democracy when you know you are messing up. So you can't get a mind which is cantankerous beyond the correction and let it loose. This is what they can do. They've just demonstrated. 2 weeks, what is 2 weeks going to do for people? If anything, madam, if you are not careful, increase the number of rich children. Because in 2 weeks, they will leave families behind. And then you keep them for another 1 year, 2 weeks. What are they going to do? Unless I say you release them for 1 year so that they even take care of the family they are creating, and we don't let children go into street. We are messing up, madam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for coming through. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
We have
0978325332. That's the number that you're getting us on this morning as we talk to Matomola Likwanya from the UPND on United Voice Radio. 0978325332. Hello there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Otherwise, program yanu tiendelea maningi.
Yeah.
Tikamba na mandani.
Tipasen koni zina.
Kama na manjo mwenye mwenye saka.
Okay.
Ni pari yama prisoners yawa.
Okay.
Yes, Wanjo. Go ahead.
Yama prisoners. Otherwise, issue to sama prisoner mtu angaleko 2 weeks palizi. Iyo usiri bino hiyo.
Okay.
Because ma prisoners awa ni vantu vakuti sivangachinje misango yavo vaja vantu vaja simungavachinje because vaja vantu vanangala chipondo kudhara vaja. So which means vintu vamene vakachita manje apa vakamekinga sure kuti chiri chonse vaja vantu vangachite, especially kuri vaja vakuti sometimes vana vamangisa vanachita chani. So which means olo vantu vari muprison vaja vantu sivaivarapisa. So which manje zvankhala kuti manje nikuvutisa vantu mumacommunity nekutikuthisisa. Then akanzera panje sometimes muntu mwana wake wa 3 years vanamuretingira mwana wake wa 3 years, then zimuona uyo muntu uyo kuti wamuchosa uyo, then vose zvizaoneka bwino.
Okay.
Then vaja vantu vaja sivangachinje madhamu vaja vantu vanangala mitima dzavo kuti dzinakosa vaja vantu, no matter how they can treat them, they can do what
They can never change. They can never change.
They cannot never change vaja vantu mitima dzavo dzinangala nechipondo kazita ndiswake yaringa na zvifonse which manje oro vakachoka apa anything muzamvera chata anything 2 weeks. Because vaja vantu wani vari stranded vari bendrama zakuti sometimes vaendere mukuenda mukuona mabhuru vavo vari penapoyandiyo. Because vaja also to build the community then vakafuna kuti asvitsi vachite panzi vamvereko bwino zita. So which means oro kuba angade kusvika tave pamene paja mvera kuti vena kwakaratani vena karatani ndo zvafuna kuti amvereko bwino muti kuitisa. So iyo heve yavainimenti iyo heve sina wame.
Okay.
Then nikwera kuri yama-campaign na heve yama-campaign yama-rallies.
Okay.
I think yama-rallies chioneka kuti it's not fair because I think the first time in kutumirako ku radio station monga United Voice Radio Matomola.
Okay.
Vose vantu vaona tabe monga ati vachinga vanzavo tate instead yakuti vanzavo naseze vachiteko kuti kapena vakambe zvinhu pamene vakachitira vantu ziva kuti kai vantu kuti vazipese bwino is through gathering, but door to door ita door to door ita vantu vangaikwanise ita because Zambia ni ikuru maningi ita muzakwanisa kuudza vantu vangati.
So itaonse kuti that political genius chape itaonesa kuti nikuchinga chape wanzao chape kuti wakakhale na flow chape ya utafiti vamitingere vantu vao vauzisani but otherwise mose uko ikasema kuti sisi bwino poseko.
Okay.
I think in the pamena hapa sasa.
Okay, so
Thank you so much for coming through. It's been great hearing from you. Okay, so maybe you can respond to those three callers that we've had so far, Matomola, before we actually allow more people to call us.
So you seem to have a lot of supporters. A lot of people have called in to say no, political rallies must go ahead, and then the prisoners must be kept in prison. Locked.
Yes. I want to agree with a caller that said that the 2 weeks that will be given to those people whom the Zambia Correctional Service deemed to be well, because they say that they are going to give that 2 weeks to prisoners whom they deem to be well behaving, their family people. Yes. Okay, they have vetted them. I want to say that in the Zambia Correctional Service procedure, okay, there is what is called parole. There is a board, the parole board.
Yeah.
When they see, they observe you are behaving very well in prison, they sign you up for what? For parole. Meaning you'll be released because they have seen your behavior over time. And because of that, they will sign for you parole. It's one way of releasing a prisoner whom they have seen over time who is well behaving. Yeah. So what is the difference? Why can't we stick to the issue of parole? Why do we want to bring in the 2 weeks? There's also amnesty and the prerogative of mercy.
Yes.
Okay. Which the president exercises. And the people that are put on that list, they are not just put randomly. The Zambia Prison Service, they vet those people and see their behavior over time, and they say, we want to pardon, presidential pardon. Okay. And that's how people are released, through pardons. Now this year, the president, out of 25,000 prisoners, he decided only to release about 575 prisoners, which is a drop in the in the ocean. If he wanted to release prisoners, he could have used his presidential pardon on Africa Freedom Day. Okay, but I know that that couldn't be done because they do not care for prisoners. Rehabilitation, do some of these prisoners change? Okay, do they change? There are some who change, but others, they don't They don't change. In 2018, when BBC actually was the first media in Zambia to be given access to go in the prisons there and capture how the prisoners are sleeping and everything. There's a documentary. I even posted it on my page. For those of us that are watching me, following me, you can go to Matomola, Likwanya. You see it. There's a documentary there of a guy by the name of William Kondowe. BBC started following that guy from the time that he was incarcerated. They were following him. They went to his family, his wife, and actually after he stayed for quite some time in prison, his wife got married to another guy. Okay. Then what happened was that William Kondowe, when he came out, he had promised the European Union, who helped him with lawyers. He had promised various organizations that he is going to to change. William Kondowe came out and he never changed. Went to steal a motor vehicle. C5 shot him dead with the same motor vehicle. He's one of the examples of people who will not change. And there are a number of people in prison who are not serving sentences for the first time. Many of them they have been there before. The issue of pregnancies, he is right. They called and said, "Murija 2 weeks, muzankala mamimba." That's all. Comrade, let me be personal a little bit, okay? I was in prison for just 6 months, but what I felt, I felt denied. I was not married, but I imagine how a person who was once married, getting used to sleep with a wife, deprived of that.
And then you release him. And
you release that one who comes up like a wild dog, very thirsty. Just in 2 weeks, how much things would he do? He finds the wife is well shaped, is intact. okay, and meet the wife there for 2 weeks. How, he knows to say, me, I own it. It's like we've been given him 2 weeks.
Or maybe finds her married to another man.
Yes, find to another man.
Longer,
Yes.
access
Yes,
her.
we are going to have a lot of things like pregnancies. People are going to be rape. Okay, we are going to have unprotected sex. We are going to have diseases actually, because I mean, people don't know that we contract diseases as men in there. I was there, and I want to confirm to the nation that even among men we were infecting ourselves with HIV. Why? Because sodomy, the Zambia Correction Service, they do not want to come out in the open that sodomy exists and is there. In prison there, sodomy is there. Men sleeping with what? With men. I saw it with my 2 naked eyes. Okay. And that is why at some point you heard them saying we are going to distribute condoms to prisoners. I'm sure you heard it. Yeah. It was in public. Why would they distribute condoms to prisoners who are men to men? So the point I'm trying to say is that
they seem to have a caller. Good morning, you're through to United Voice Radio. Hello? Hello, good morning. Yes, please, give us your name and where you're calling us from. Oh, okay. Yes, Bamling.
You know, I'm a calculation, that's why if you are under to window changing, I ask the number to Alanda from Alamanabatua. I'm a device a problem for the current government. Now, I'm a government, I have my own man. Molasanga, Yama device, I think that if I'm doing the other advice of small share of protection, or I said that I like to have freedom. Take a change of look at the calculation of my prisoners. When I was calculated, young that was set my prisoners, zero to Allah, to Allah, Sanga, and to Aringa, to vote, and the Vala, we never flew over. Money, nga balitatte omuntu wala ekiteekibira ng'okiryokkira lwokwatiikira byakireba myron brothers mwabengisha mu byereero nomba mwabafunya mulenje bati abantu abalajja ndawula ne bana kikozi nange mwabengisha boki obulwakula mu byereero mwamufunya tekoera kiba bululu bandi bonte balasekera mwawe tebonte mwalasanga ati limbi ni 20% bebala ompobwe n'abakyala balira nde byakakitako kyali shupa abantu n'abamanzi booyo balejjandawula ti omwana wange yalinseebanya n'akakwezi so omulenjere bati boki obulwakula nga mwamufumya mu jjeere nibanga abantu abalajjandawula olwo nga mwafumya amaprisonas abali 500 mu jjeere abantu abalasekeramu mwalasanga ati ni 20% bati abalejjandawula mwalasanga ati ni 80%. So kyatuwekiize n'amacalculation ekobaleeya nyawabale bazeefa amapoliticians asinga wakiteekero kyalabe because n'abamuna nga bakiteesi kyamalaadi tafireebaakuwa bakiteesi tafireebwati omuntu aleero lekyazepapinjeeso kituulire ekyokenzeety amaprisoners kityo benanga balekwayo okusenda majority nga baleka okusenda abantu babule kyobunga babuleete pali 20 kwakyawulo 30 kwakya era balasenda majority nokivyo baleba ama experiment yapyayo kyakyotera mukwati.
Thank you so much for coming through. Okay.
I was also on a thought, and the thought that I was on, I'll actually jump and say that as other callers are coming in. You know, there's this thing that happens where prisoners they got their voters cards in prison. So what happens to a prisoner? Right now, for your own information, the prisoners' voters cards are not kept by themselves. We got that information through our intelligence in the system. The voters' cards which they gave to prisoners, the prisoners are not keeping those voters' cards to themselves. The ones who are keeping the voters' cards for the prisoners is the Zambia Correctional
they're
Service.
keeping them
For
them,
safety. Now the question is, imagine a person has been released, under 2 weeks, during the time of voting. And as your voters' card yake ku prison, maybe bampasa voters' card inango. There is likely to be an election duping and malpractice that will happen between that time of voting, because there will be some people whom we will not see, and they will come and tell us to say, hey, well, this person is a prisoner, he was just released last week. We saw these things in 2016 where someone went into the server of ECZ, an unknown guy. So even when it comes to political campaigns, the intelligence that we are getting is that the prisoners will not be voting from the prisons. Get this correctly, the viewers and those who are watching me, all of us here. The prisoners, they will not vote in prisons. The prisoners, they are going to vote in the polling stations where you and me are going to vote. For example, Kamara Remand Prison, the nearest polling station is Kamara Primary School. That is where the prisoners are going to what? To vote.
Are they going to be under guard?
They have not given us a guidance. Maximum, Cowboy Maximum, their nearest polling stations, that's where they will vote from. That is why we are seeing that this thing, it might be good, but it has come at a wrong time where the nation is preparing for what? For elections. And the other thing I want to address is the issue of political campaigns.
Sorry, Likwanya.
Yeah.
Probably one or two calls.
Before we actually go away, because time is not really on our side, we have a caller on the line. Hello there, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, thank you. Please give us your name and where you're calling from.
Charles Lewe, Mr. Fresh on the line.
Okay, and where you're calling us from?
Lusaka.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. Comrade, good morning.
Good morning, comrades.
Comrade, we are Zambians. And for me, I'm a person that was brought up by parents who taught me to say you should respect your parents at all cost. And never should you undress your parents in as much as they can be poor. What I'm saying on this one, what I mean is we are all Zambians and we should respect our land. It's our mother, Zambia. And what we do mostly, we see people coming out and, put more like shame on our land, and instead of protecting it, we say all sorts of things without knowing exactly whether we mean well or it's just politics. Remember, our big man, your president HH, is the man that came out when Corona started, advertising for total lockdown. Today, wherever he goes, he puts on gloves, face mask, all sort of equipment of COVID. And yet you yourself, I've never seen you in gloves. Are you protected? Who is he trying to protect, you or himself? When he was talking about total lockdown, that video went viral. And he condemned the measures that government had put in place to say Zambia should not be put on lockdown because we were going to be completely, I don't know how best I can put it, but we were going to be very, very affected if we were going to take the measures that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema proposed. And the government and His Excellency Dr. Edgar Lungu decided to have the bold decision to say we should not go this way because we are going to be affected. He did that. And for sure, in as much as they did that, we are also affected, at least. But if we went on that total lockdown, where were we going to be today? Today, you have run away from the proposals of how best we should run these campaigns. You are on air now. And people can hear what you're talking about. Are you telling me we can fail to find measures or ways on how best we can run away from rallies and do the best for our own people? If we love them, we want to save these people. At the end of the day, we are putting them at a risk, very high risk. Is Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has he managed to buy the same gloves that he's putting on hands, face mask, to all the people that he usually meets? He was in Kanyama recently. He stood on the car and everyone gathered bumper to bumper. He was on gloves and the rest were empty. Who is he trying to protect? And if these people are affected with this corona, who is he going to come and save or lead at the end of the day? So look, we are all Zambians, and at times let's not politicize anything. Let's protect this land for the sake of peace, love. It's our mother, and
your time is up now. We have to let you go now. There's no conclusion. We have to let you go now. You've done 4 minutes. No, we won't allow you. Time is gone now. Thank you so much for coming through. Matomola, clearly we need more time
with you.
to have you back.
Yes.
The problem, Matomola, is that you also talk too much.
Politicians talk too much.
Excuse me, don't take it. Well, I'm looking forward for Mr. actually to have a politician.
We should have opened the phone line.
But just quickly, I want to respond to the last caller.
Okay, yes, please.
There was a Spanish flu. Okay, many years ago. At that particular time, there was politics. People gathered. They campaigned for their leaders. Coronavirus is not new. United States has shown us, India has shown us that we can do these things. We can have political party
But
rallies.
India is not an example that you should be having.
Exactly.
Right now, lots of people are dying in India.
Yes, but what I'm saying,
as a result of the political campaigns they had, or the political periods they had.
But what I'm saying is that we cannot suspend the rallies because of coronavirus, because we in our country the cases are low. To be honest with you, we do not even have 200 confirmed deaths as at now. The cases are low. The cases have reduced of coronavirus. Why should we be in a panic? The problem with the PF is that they want to copy what is happening in other countries. Last time they closed the schools when only one person had died. We closed schools for 6 months.
We are running out of time. We have to get into the news.
Thank you so much for having made an appearance on the show this morning. We hope to have you again, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we have been talking to the UPND Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary, Matomola Likwanya on United Voice Radio. Thank you so much for listening. And right now we get into the news at 10 on United Voice Radio. Good morning.